Okay, here we are with a little project report, and as you can see, I've been able to finally make 1/4 of the full RC car body. Now everything else that you see here has been 3D printed. The wheels, the axles, the chassis, and of course the body. That's one project. Let's put that aside. And then I decided to make a middle sword. Now, let me show you something about creating 3D prints with support. This one, as you can see, has a bunch of support on the bottom. And I printed it out with support to see how easy it would be to actually take it off. So in this particular case, it seems like it came out, on one side at least, it came out quite nicely without the use of any tools. But, and there's a big but here, even though that's true, look at how mashed up it is right there. And this is the reason why whenever I build a 3D model for printing, I usually avoid creating it so that it needs supports, because if I now needed to sand this down, especially on such a small part, that would be a big hassle. And that's why I made this just to show what happens when you do use support, and then show you what happens if you create the part so that it does not require support. And then basically what I did here is I created it into halves, and then if you print them in 2 halves, then you can just glue them together. It no longer needs support, and so it'll come out beautiful on both sides. Also, I made different options for the sword so that you can either print out the blade in one go, but also you could print it out in smaller parts like this. So let's say your 3D printer has a small build volume and you still want to build this pretty large, you can build it out of more pieces. Of course, it won't be as strong because it'll have the glue in the middle. The same thing goes for the handle of the sword. It's in 3 parts. You can choose to print it out as one or in multiple parts depending on how you want it to print. But as you can see, I've made these prints super easy to use for anybody, even if you've never ever printed anything. You won't need any plastic supports. That was just an example of what happens if you do use them and you don't have a special printer that has the dissolvable or better support system anyway. So there you have it, some of the new products I'm making. Hope you enjoyed it.